What's up guys, my name is Stoody. I'd like to welcome you back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be doing my AFL Round 9 tips for the 2025 AFL season. Before we get into this week's tips, let's go ahead and see how I went last week. So last week I got 7 out of 9 tips correct, which now moves me up to 56 tips in total for the season. So before we get into the tips, let's go ahead and see what ones I got correct and what ones I got incorrect last week. So I tipped Essendon to defeat North Melbourne. I tipped Freemantle to defeat St Kilda. However, that game I did here was rigged, so that means that does count as a correct tip. I tipped the Western Bulldogs to defeat Port Adelaide. I tipped Adelaide to defeat Carlton. I tipped Collingwood to defeat Geelong. However, that game was quite obviously rigged, so that obviously counts as a correct tip. I tipped Hawthorne to rob Richmond, and I tipped Brisbane to defeat Gold Coast, meaning the two that I got incorrect were that I tipped West Coast to defeat Melbourne, and I tipped the GWS Giants to defeat Sydney. Let's go ahead and move on to this week's tips. So again, another bullshit Thursday night game. We have Freemantle taking on Collingwood at Optus Stadium. I'm going to win Collingwood in this one by 13 points. Now, I do understand that Fremantle were robbed last week, but against a shit team like St Kilda, really they should be able to defy the match fixing. But I think Fremantle, they've got some serious chemistry issues, and they have a terrible coach. So, because they probably have the best list in the competition, but just bad chemistry and bad coaching is holding them back. And when you have selfish as fuck players like Shea Bolton on your team, I mean, it's going to be hard to win and have good chemistry. So Collingwood will be pissed off after getting severely robbed last week against Geelong. So I think Collingwood will go to Perth and we'll get the victory against Fremantle. Moving on to Friday night, we have St Kilda taking on Carlton at Marvel Stadium. I'm going to win Carlton in this one by 8 points. Now this one's a weird one. Two very weird teams, very inconsistent sort of teams. I mean, either team can win on their day, but I've just gone Carlton with this one because they're the better team. They're clearly the better team, but you just can't trust either of these two teams, you know. Whoever you end up tipping in this game, you will not tip with any sort of confidence. I'm tipping Carlton with no confidence at all. But I guess we'll wait and see what happens in this one. Moving on to Saturday afternoon, we have Melbourne taking on Hawthorne at the MCG. I'm going to do Hawthorne in this one by a rigged amount. It's the only way really they can win is due to match fixing. I think they only have one legit win for the whole entire season so far, which kind of proves how protected they are. As for Melbourne, they also only have one legit win, but let's just be real. The AFL have a massive crush on Hawthorne. And Hawthorne, they always cheat as well by ducking and diving and that sort of shit. So we all know that this game will be rigged. Melbourne are clearly the better team and Melbourne are pretty shit, so that's saying something. I'm only tipping Hawthorne because it will be rigged. Moving on to Saturday twilight, we have Essendon taking on Sydney at Marvel Stadium. Going to win Essendon in this one by 22 points. I don't know what happened in the Sydney GWS game. I couldn't watch it. I was on the train on the way to the Richmond game, but yeah, basically Sydney are a weird team, so are Essendon, so who the fuck knows, but I could very easily change this tip. At the moment, I've gone with Essendon, mainly because it's at home for them, and they're in the slightly better form than Sydney. Essendon do play shit against the shit teams, but they go better against the good teams, so I have more confidence in them when they're up against a good team, to be honest with you. Moving on to Saturday night, we have Gold Coast taking on Western Bulldogs at Tayo Stadium. I'm going to win Gold Coast in this one by 11 points. Now, the Western Bulldogs are in some ripping form, so I could definitely see them getting the win. But Gold Coast are just really hard to beat in Darwin. And if you think about it, this is pretty much match fixing because, I mean, there's only two teams in the AFL that would be used to Darwin conditions, and that is Gold Coast and Brisbane. And obviously, they're going to have Gold Coast play the home games in Darwin. And they've picked Gold Coast because, you know, Andrew Dillon is a Gold Coast supporter. He literally sponsors them. And, you know, if I can, feel free to sign the petition in the description down below to have Andrew Dillon sacked for match fixing because we desperately need to get rid of him if we're going to make the AFL great again. But I'm tipping Gold Coast because it's at home and probably a little bit of match fixing as well. Moving on to the other Saturday night game, we have Port Adelaide taking on Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval, so it is the showdown. I'm going to be Adelaide in this one by 15 points, mainly because Adelaide clearly have the wood over Port Adelaide. Even when Adelaide were useless, they were beating Port Adelaide in every single showdown. So, yeah, I'm just going to go Adelaide. I think they're the better team, they're in the better form, and they have the wood over Port Adelaide. So, I think Adelaide will win yet another showdown. Moving on to Sunday afternoon, we have Richmond taking on West Coast at the MCG. I will be attending this game. It's a home game, so that's good. And, you know, you wouldn't really see many West Coast ferals here in Melbourne. You wouldn't have thought. I'm going to be teaming Richmond in this one by 39 points. Richmond will be pissed off after getting severely robbed last week against Hawthorne. So they'll be out for revenge and should be able to easily defeat West Coast. West Coast moving on to Sunday afternoon, we have Geelong taking on GWS Giants at GMHBA Stadium. I'm going to pick Geelong in this one by a rigged amount. Geelong had to cheat to win last week, and you know they have the bullshit home ground advantage. Really, the game should be at the MCG. GMHBA should not be an AFL ground. It's not AFL standard at all. But I'm only tipping Geelong mainly because of match fixing and because it's at home. GWS are clearly the better team, but Geelong will be severely protected in this game. Last game of the round, Sunday twilight, we have North Melbourne taking on Brisbane at Marvel Stadium. This one's clearly the easiest tip. So, yeah, I guess those are my tips for round 9. Feel free to leave your tips in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. For more epic content like this, be sure to become a channel member. Just hit the join button next to my name. Also, be sure to subscribe to my premium Making Goals of Nick. Link to his channels in the description. Also, be sure to subscribe to my other YouTube channels. Be sure to subscribe to my podcast channel, King Snakes of Stoody. Also, be sure to subscribe to my second YouTube channel, Stoody Archives. Links to both of those are in the description. Also, be sure to join my Discord server. It's called Australian Sports Community. Link to that is in the description. Also, be sure to follow me on my other social media accounts. I have Twitter and also have TikTok. The username for all those is StoodyYT. Links to all those will also be in the description. I hope you have a good day.